case that was referred up. This isn't my case, it's Lacey's, but I'm filling in for her because she's not on duty at this time. But if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them as best as I can, and then we'll kind of go through what's been going on with the decision, basically, on what to do with the referral we received.
Okay.
Do you have any questions, though, before we get started?
Well, the first question I wrote down was why wasn't there a prosecution? And I guess we can talk about my ideas after that, or you guys can just tell me why you guys chose to not prosecute, or why Mr. Sullivan chose not to prosecute.
You bet. Yep, and that's a question he could probably better answer since he makes that decision.
Absolutely. Mr. Lattimore was referred up to us on a charge of disorderly conduct. The reports as they were did not have enough in them to allow us to meet our burden. We have to prove beyond... Hold on one second, I need to close my door. There's getting a lot out there. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Sorry about that. The reports as they were referred up to us did not give us enough so that we could prove beyond a reasonable doubt that there was a disorderly conduct situation. The report, frankly, did not even include a statement from you. So the no action that we sent back to the police department, and if they want to further the investigation, they can. And certainly anything that would further the investigation will be referred to us, and I'll review it. By no actioning it, all that means is that there's not what we call jeopardy attached to it, the old double jeopardy clause.
Right.
So any further information that we receive, I'll certainly review it. But as it was sent up to us, frankly, it was referred up in the descriptions from the other witnesses. Certainly were consistent more with a self-defense situation rather than something that we could charge at that point in time.
Okay. I got that. The last statement you added, the self-defense situation, was what consisted of self-defense on behalf of who? The guy who was arrested, or self-defense on my behalf? Who was defending themselves in this situation from the witnesses?
Certainly. The other individual was, no one saw the knife. A knife was discovered in a car to which the other individual ran, but no one actually saw a knife in the vehicle. The description given by several individuals, including, hold on just a second, let me try to find it.
Yeah, I picked up the report a second ago. I'll go grab it really quick. I should have grabbed it before we started.
Yeah, and I have the police report up right here. If you want to grab it, feel free.
All right, I got it. I'm good.
Okay. Paula Platow, who was a worker at the place, heard a discussion in which one individual said, meaning you, said, call the cops, he pulled a knife on me, and then another, then the other person, Christopher Smith, said, well, you had a gun. So right there, that would show possible self-defense.
That also shows that he could have been lying. Well, there's a potential that a person would say that to lie to cover up the crime they just committed. If you knew you were about to be in trouble for something, or someone was going to tell that you did something to them, the first thing you would think of is a lie to cover up what you just did. And the best one that anybody would think of is to say that the person who did something to you, that you who was yelling, now you had a knife, the best defense is to say, well, he had a gun. And whether or not the person had one or not, it doesn't matter. The defense was immediate. It's as quickly as whoever gets caught committing a crime, as a quick response, like anyone who gets caught doing something bad would come up with something to say in response to that, to cover up what they did. Now, go ahead.
And I can tell you this, that the law actually figures it a little differently than that. When something is said in the heat of the moment without the opportunity to come up with a story, there's actually an exception to the hearsay requirement because of that. When someone's in the heat of the moment and the heat of the incident and then makes a statement as to what occurred, the law actually recognizes that it's more difficult to come up with a lie immediately than it is over time, especially if you're still under the stress of the situation. What I have to tell you is this. What the state has to look at anything on, we can't just take a chance on anything. We have to look by our ethical standards if we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that a crime has occurred. Sometimes we know a crime has occurred, but we can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. So therefore, we're not able to proceed forward on it. What I'm telling you is that the way the police reports are written, and I'm not saying anything bad about the officers, what I'm saying is the information that we receive is from the police reports. The police reports don't give us a position where we can say that beyond a reasonable doubt this happened at a criminal level. Certainly, it sounds like there was a disagreement between both of you. Certainly, I don't dispute that there was a knife found in the car.
I heard,
but I can't put the knife in the bathroom.
Okay, I heard you, but I can put the knife in the bathroom, and I can honestly disagree with what you just said. The person who said in the moment that he had a gun wouldn't lie and say that in the moment this person had a gun if he made it up. That person, whoever he was, would have had a gun. You just said that there's no opportunity for a person to lie about what just happened. So if you just said hearsay laws that dictate in the heat of a moment that it's harder to come up with a lie in the moment because there's no opportunity to think of a lie. So that would mean that whatever he just said was true. And if what he just said was true, there would have been a gun in that bathroom. Or I would have had a gun at some point in that bathroom in the grocery store, some point in that bathroom in the grocery store, or in my work vehicle. None of the police officers searched my work vehicle. They searched my person. I never left the scene of the quick trip. I never left the parking lot. I never left anywhere in that area that I was. And if the person you just said saw a gun in the bathroom, which is why he pulled a knife out, which would imagine if the witness, if I yell out, this dude has a gun, and he yells out, that's because he had if I yell out, this guy has a knife in his pocket, and he yells out in response, he had a gun, then that would mean that not only did he have a knife, he also saw a gun in the bathroom. So that dude is lying about me having a gun, and he also admitted to having a knife in his pocket, because if in the heat of the moment the only thing you could think of was an honest response, the response you would have would be, I did not have a knife. And you wouldn't say this dude had a gun if you were being honest in the moment without an opportunity to lie. So this goes back to my idea that in that moment he decided to lie in front of everybody to cover up what actually happened in that bathroom. And that's
and what I'm saying is, I don't think you understand. What I'm trying to tell you is what the law recognizes exceptions to hearsay. One of the exceptions to hearsay is that if somebody was under the stressor of the moment at the time. The reason that the law recognizes that is it's more difficult, like you said, for someone to come up with a lie. And I disagree with what the statement was said there. It said you had a gun.
Right, and so you have no chance to lie.
There's no admission of having. Hold on a second, Mr. Lattimore. I'll give you all the time you want. I'm trying to explain to you why I'm saying what the law, the way the law is, and what I have to do in order to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt. What I'm saying is, there's no. You're attempting to read in an admission there that there's not an admission in the statement. And again, understanding this is a statement of one of the people who observed the incident.
Right.
That's just one of the individuals, but go ahead.
Okay. No, I agree. I completely agree. And like I said, I'm not trying to put words in people's mouths. I'm not saying that he verbally admitted to the things that happened in the bathroom. I'm just saying he told everybody I had a gun. And if he didn't have a chance to lie about that, and if he was being honest, like you said, then I would have had a gun in that bathroom, in that grocery store, or in that car, or on my person, and I didn't. My pants were still down. I had just finished peeing. My pants were still down. I ran out of the bathroom with my belt unbuckled, my pants down, and I told people that there's a guy in the bathroom with a knife. And he came out, and I told everybody, this dude has a knife. And he yelled out, he has a gun. Oh, no, he didn't even say that. I never heard someone say he had a gun. I never heard that. Honestly, if the police wrote down what I told them on the body cam, I never heard anybody say I had a gun. I never heard that. The words that came out of his mouth was that, he had a knife. And that's what I told police officers at the scene of the crime. I don't know if you have the ability to watch the body cam footage of me reporting what happened at that quick trip, but I never mentioned, like you said earlier, the police officers never wrote down my personal statement of what happened at the time. So I don't know why they didn't do that, but that is weird. That is incredibly weird for an officer not to report what the statement I gave to officers at the scene of the crime. I've never heard of that, and I wish you would have talked to me before you made a decision. And I would like one opportunity to tell you exactly what happened in that bathroom. I don't know if you have time for that, but I would like to do that.
And I will. And what I'm trying to tell you is, again, what I'm saying is from the police reports. It's from Ms. Platow, the worker at Clipchamp.
Yeah.
She's the one who told the officers that she heard Mr. Smith say, well, you had a gun. Now, Ms. Platow stated she never saw a knife or a gun on either of you. So Ms. Platow said that she didn't observe anything there anyway. The other witnesses, and you're right, I would have liked to have had your statement as well. It's not in the police report. Ms. Troya is another individual who was working at Quick Trip who stated that she heard you come out screaming, call 911, a guy pulled a knife on me. She also heard something about a child molester. Then you left the store and stood in front by your car on your phone. Went over to the driver's door of a car. Ms. Troya stated that she never saw a knife. Then we have, and I'm going to discount Ms. Vaughn and Mr. Smith right now because obviously they would have an opposing statement because they're Mr. Smith is the other individual and Ms. Vaughn is the girlfriend of Mr. Smith. But Mr. McCarthy, who was in the stall, stated that he heard two male voices, one talking about being a pedophile and a child rapist. He heard one of the males say, quote, go fuck yourself, end quote. Never looked outside to see what happened. Why is that important? If you go back to Mr. Smith's statement, he says those same words. Mr. McCarthy didn't know Mr. Smith. But Mr. Smith stated, let me get back to his. Hold on just a second.
He never had a knife.
Here we go. Mr. Smith said there was another male in the bathroom who was talking about being a child rapist. He identified that as you, and not to be a pedophile. He did not know who you were talking about, never met you before. He said you were acting strange and crazy. As he walked out of the bathroom, he said you said to, quote, go fuck yourself, end quote, and then walked back into the bathroom and said, were you talking to me? At this point, Mr. Lattimore yelled, he's got a knife, end quote. Mr. Smith denied having a knife, nor did he display a knife. And he didn't know what you were talking about. Mr. Smith walked out of the restroom, went to his car, and then spoke with police when they arrived. So what I'm saying is, if you look at other witness statements, and you even look at Mr. Smith's statement in cooperation with the other witness statements, I can't prove that a disorderly conduct situation occurred based on what I see in the police reports. If you want to tell me what you perceive as happening, absolutely, I would love to hear that.
I heard everything you just said. Most of it didn't make sense. The difference is that the witnesses weren't in the bathroom, and they can't. Their statements are only as valuable as the time spent outside of that bathroom. So in cooperation, the only value to their statements is after the fact of whatever occurred in the bathroom. So we got to go back to that bathroom and look at that. And I honestly believe you've already made your decision. So I'm just saying this in hindsight. That guy, I can put the knife that the dude had in the bathroom. When the police officers arrived, I described the knife to them before the officers checked the vehicle that the knife was found in. I told officers that the knife was black it was a switchblade. It was not a switchblade, but like you press the button and the knife flipped out really fast. It was like a folded knife. And it was I told them, I held my hands out in front of them and I showed them about the size of the knife. I told them it was a black handle. I told the officers it was a silver blade. I told the officers that the guy went to that vehicle and he stood and he sat in that vehicle on the passenger side. I told the officers this. The officers later on showed up. There was like 15 cops there, or maybe less, but at least 10 police officers showed up. And there was like officers talking to me and officers searching the vehicle. I told the police officers what type of weapon he had and what it looked like. Later on, the officers got the knife out of the vehicle. They held it up. I seen the knife, and but this is after I told the officers what the knife looked like. So I don't know if you can get that body cam footage or not, but it should show you that I told 3 or 4 officers for about 15 to 20 minutes exactly what happened and what the knife looked like. And before they found the knife in the vehicle, the officers came over to me and asked me what the knife looked like, and I told them it was a black knife, black handle, press a button, and the knife flipped out. So when I was in the bathroom, what actually happened was I stood at the stall, I started peeing. Christopher Smith was already in the bathroom. He was washing his hands at the sink, but I didn't pay attention to him. I didn't notice him. I didn't do anything or say anything to him. I usually use that bathroom all the time. I think I've used it like 20 times in the last 5 months. I make deliveries to the Toyota Hesser car dealership across the street from Quick-Trip. So I usually stop there, I get gas, and I use the bathroom. So I frequent that bathroom. I go in that bathroom. I go to Quick-Trip all the time. I've never had a problem. I went to the bathroom. I used the bathroom. I told, and while I was in the bathroom, I didn't say anything about being a child rapist. I said exactly, I wrote it down. What did I say? I said, it's not okay to rape children and force them to be gay when they grow up. And when I said that, I said, why are you holding your hands up?
No, that's what I'm asking. That's not in the reports that way.
But if you watch the body cam footage, I said
no. We don't typically get the body cam footage.
Right, but I told that to the officers. That's exactly the words that I said to the officers several times. I said exactly what. Yeah,
it's odd that they wouldn't put that in the reports. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So that's what made that. Right, and that's what made that dude mad. I believe at that moment, or 2 seconds later, maybe 10 seconds later, he stopped washing his hands. I didn't really notice. I was peeing and talking to myself. He walked behind me and whispered in my left ear, "You are still gay," and walked out of the bathroom. And as he walked out of the bathroom, I said, "Why did you just nod like that, Kim?" Oh, never mind. It doesn't matter.
No, There's a dog next door to me that's barking.
So he walked out. He walked out of the bathroom, and as he walked out of the bathroom in my left ear, he said, "You're still gay." And then as he walked out, I said, "Go fuck yourself," because there's no one else he could have been talking to. He was like an inch away from my face, so I knew he had to be talking to me. And plus the comment I just made, it's not okay to rape children and force them to be gay when they grow up. So that's dealing with pedophiles who attack children and then tell people in the gay community that they had sex with these children. And these people in the gay community conceive that as the person being willing to have sex, same sex, with each other. And growing up, and these gay guys continue to sexually harass these adults who they believe are willing to have sex as a child, grow up, and then they have to be gay as adults. So that's what I said in the bathroom. And as Christopher walked out of the bathroom, he said, "You are still gay." And I told him to go fuck yourself as he walked out of the bathroom door. And then he yelled back, "No, you go fuck yourself." And he walked back into the bathroom. So Christopher left the bathroom. I don't know if you've seen that on the Clipchamp videos, or you were in the gas station or not, or you watched the videos of the altercation in the gas station. But Christopher left the bathroom and walked back into the bathroom. He stood, he stared at me. I watched him walk back into the bathroom. I'm still peeing. I watched him walk back into the bathroom. He stared at me in my eyes, like really angry look for about half a second. I didn't recognize him. I didn't see him when he left. I didn't recognize him when he came back in. I didn't know if it was the same person or not. I had no idea it was the same guy who just yelled that out of the bathroom, because I didn't really get a good look at him. But he walked back into the bathroom. He stood in the corner where he was washing his hands, and then he stood there. He stood there for about half a second, and then he said, "Were you talking to me?" And at that point, I looked to my right, and I see this man standing in the corner by the sink, and he pulls out in his right front coat pocket. He reaches in his right front coat pocket and pulls out a knife. It's as big as his hand. Well, the handle is as big as his hand, and he presses a button, and the knife flipped out. It flipped straight out, like he pressed the button and the knife, like a spring loaded. I don't know how do you describe those, but it spring loaded out. He stood there for half a second, and then he kind of leaned. I stopped peeing. I pulled my pants up as much as I could, and I stepped back, and he kind of moved his right hand like an inch or two in slow motion towards me, and then I ran out of the bathroom. I didn't know whether I should have defended myself or not, but I decided to run out the bathroom, and I told people there's a guy in the bathroom with a knife, and he pulled a knife out on me. I told everybody, call the police. I didn't have my phone on me. I left my phone has a GPS set, so all my stops on my route are on my phone. So I left it in the truck, in my truck. So I would have called the police myself. I wouldn't have told anybody. I wouldn't have yelled it out to everybody to call the cops, because I would have done it myself. But I couldn't. So I yelled out, "Can somebody please call the police? Somebody please call the police. There's a guy in the bathroom with a knife." And the people in the store were like, "Yeah, we're calling him. We're going to call him. We're going to call him." And when Christopher walked out of the bathroom, I told everybody in the store that that's the guy with the knife. He has a knife in his front right pocket. That's what I told him. I said, "This guy has a knife in his front right pocket." And I'm sorry. Before I left, Christopher pressed a button, and the knife flipped back into his handle, and he put it back in his right pocket. And I ran out of the bathroom. So while I ran out of the bathroom, I saw him do that out of the corner of my eyes. I ran out of the bathroom. I told everybody what I said. And Christopher walks out, and I say, "Don't go anywhere. Don't leave. Don't you go anywhere." I say, "He's got a knife. He's got a knife." And Christopher yells back, "No, he has a knife. He has a knife." And then he continues to walk out of the store really slowly. As soon as I see him do that, I tell him, "Don't leave, don't leave."
Mr. Lattimore, I'm sorry to say this to you, but I froze apparently. The last I heard you say is that you saw him put it in his right pocket. Can you start up from there again?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I ran out of the bathroom, but when I did, I seen him flip the knife back, flip the knife back into his front right pocket. Christopher walked out eventually after I left the bathroom, and he started walking out of the store. And I told him not to leave. I told him to stop. I was asking people to call the police, and I didn't want him to go anywhere. I didn't want him to get away, right? I didn't want this dude to drive off and the police never find him or never know who he was. So I had to run out of the store with my pants down still. My pants were still down. I have a belt, but I didn't have a chance to pull my pants up and fasten my belt. So I'm running out the store with my hands around my crotch, holding my pants up. And I go to the vehicle, I pull out my phone, I run to Christopher's car. The car that he got into is a red Toyota or whatever it was. And I stood in front of it and I told him, "You will not leave, do not leave." Christopher, the police dispatch is talking to me. She's asking me questions about what happened, where are you, what's the car that he's in, can you give me details about what the guy looks like and all that stuff. She told me police are already en route. I told her the description of the vehicle. Christopher gets out of the car and walks back into the gas station. I followed him slightly into the gas station. No, I didn't. I stopped walking. I stopped following. I don't know why he went into the gas station. But I told the police officers what just happened. Dispatch what happened. At that time, officers were there, and I stopped talking to dispatch and I started talking to police officers. And that's where the beginning of the report that you see about my statement to officers, that's where it begins, when I start talking to them about things. But then they stop mentioning the things that I mentioned. Everything I just told you is on the body cam footage, and that's exactly what I told them. Everything I just said is exactly how things happened in that gas station, and that's what happened. So I told police officers that. I told them what the knife looked like. I told them what car he went to. So yeah, I told them about the knife, and I told them what car he went to. And they asked me like several times, which car is it? Which car is it? And I said, it's that car right there, the car with all the officers surrounding it. So there was like 4 cops searching the car at the gas pump, the car that Christopher got into. And he asked me about the knife, and I said it was a black knife with a silver blade with a press button, and it flips out. And I said okay, and then like about 5 minutes later, the police officer who found the knife comes over and asked me what did the knife look like, and I described it again to him. So before I saw the knife that Christopher had, the black handle, silver blade that I seen in the bathroom, that they found in the car that he went to, I knew that the dude, my point is, I knew exactly what car he put it in, what car a knife was in, and exactly what that knife looked like. A car I've never seen before, a car I've never been to before, a knife I've never seen before, things that I wouldn't know unless I seen for myself in this person who had this knife. So I don't know why you chose. I'm confused. What elements of evidence you would need, what further elements of evidence you would need to prosecute? Because I just described a knife that I've never seen before that someone had in a car that I couldn't possibly guess there was a black knife with a silver blade, like the one I described before I saw it in that vehicle. And Christopher lied immediately to cover his tracks. And I don't know why the officers acted like this was not a big deal, but that is exactly what happened. And I believe Christopher attacked me because I mentioned what I mentioned in the bathroom, that it's not okay to rape children and force them to be gay when they grow up. And when I said that, the dude stopped doing what he was doing, and I believe he walked out of the store, walked out of the bathroom at that moment, at that precise moment, just to say, "You're still gay." And he walked out. And that's what made Christopher mad. That is the reason why he pulled a knife out on me. It was because the comment I made, and I don't know what else. I don't know what other reason why he would do that. But the fact that I'm not gay, the fact that I don't know if he's gay or not, but he knows I made the comment I made, and from that comment, I guess you can assume the person who said it is not gay. And I can attest to that. I'm not gay. So
that doesn't matter.
It does matter. It could be a hate crime. It could be a hate crime because this dude isn't gay.
No. What I'm saying is that, someone's sexual orientation doesn't matter on what the situation is. It's not going to qualify under the hate crime with what. Again, we don't have to prove motive in Wisconsin. Actually, any state. But what I'm saying is that gay, not gay, whatever, everyone has the same rights. There's nothing in the reports that indicates any of that. Did you see Mr. McCarthy in the stall?
No, I
did. Or know that there was somebody else?
Oh, yeah, no, I did. I did notice that one of the bathroom stalls was occupied. There's I think from a shadow in the, like as you walk in, you can kind of tell that one of the stalls is occupied. So I believe...
Door closed, shadow under the door. Yeah, I understand.
I believe there was somebody who was in there.
Okay. And the only reason I asked that is you had said that there was nobody else in the bathroom.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So you didn't notice that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was. When I walked in, I noticed two people. One guy washing his hands, and I believe somebody was in the stall. It's kind of clearly there was somebody in there or whatever. But yeah. I don't know what other elements you need. I mean, I can't believe that there was no prosecution. Because the guy, like I said, he had the knife I described, and that's the knife that the police officers found in the vehicle I said the knife was in. And if he never had the knife in the store, I would never be able to describe what knife he had, or that exact knife being in that exact car. So it's kind of hard to imagine how someone would be able to determine that or guess that without seeing the knife prior. Because there's a million knives out here, and it could have been any type of knife the guy showed up in the bathroom with. And I could have said it was a red knife with a black blade, or a green knife and a straight blade, or whatever the case may be. But it was exactly the kind of knife that I saw in the bathroom.
Yeah, and there's nothing in the reports that indicates that you described a knife. I'm just telling you what the reports say, and you have a copy of them, so yeah. I think you can probably agree with me on that. And with what the reports have, the girlfriend said that he came straight to the car, stayed in the car. Ms. Vaughn, that she didn't see him drop the knife or anything like that. It was on the floor, that he usually carried a knife for, people carry knives for numerous reasons, let's be honest, work or otherwise. But that the knife was collapsed down and lying on the floor with the blade out is what the reports say. That she never saw Mr. Smith with the knife, took the knife, and then the officer who has a report gave it to another evidence officer. But none of what you're telling us is actually in the police reports. So I don't know if they just didn't complete the report, something happened. But with the reports that I have, that's the reason why it was no action as it was.
Okay.
But like I said, we can certainly ask to see if there's any more reports. And if there are, a no action decision doesn't mean that it has to remain no action. With a misdemeanor, we have up to 3 years to charge any misdemeanor, up to 6 years to charge any felony. This would be a misdemeanor for sure, the way you're describing it. So a no action decision can be reversed. That's not a problem if we have more evidence. The evidence I have right now, at least by the police reports, isn't sufficient for me to charge anything.
Is there does the statement I just gave you, if it corroborates with the body cam footage that they downloaded, or any reports that the officer has of my statements that he, for whatever reason, isn't that enough sufficient new evidence for you to decide that there's a reasonable belief that the guy pulled a knife out based on the fact that they found a knife he described in the vehicle before he ever saw the knife in that vehicle?
Again, I'd have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, and I'd want to see what evidence I have. That does not match the evidence we have now. Frankly, no one saw a knife, no one heard a knife. Mr. McCarthy in the bathroom didn't hear.
I saw a knife.
I know, Mr. Lattimore. I'm just telling you what's in the reports. Mr. McCarthy did not give a statement indicating those things. But certainly, if we have video evidence, that's always good evidence. And
yeah, and the police report said they downloaded a body cam footage to some website. I don't know. I read it.
That's our evidence website. Yeah. That's where we review those things, but doesn't mean that we received it. Actually, it just means they downloaded it to the app.
Okay. Well,
it's their file processing system, meaning that that's where they would store any video cam footage. It doesn't mean it always works when they download it. First off, it doesn't mean we received it, because we usually don't. We would, have to request it. Typically, that's not done until there's a request from a defense attorney for discovery or something like that. But certainly, if there's another report out there that I don't have, that's why I threw my hands in the air. I can't believe that the police wouldn't take the report with what you're telling me, because that's important information. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's all important. So, Mr. Lattimore, as a victim service person, I would suggest you, honestly, to go reach back out to that police department. You can remember the officer's name you spoke to even. You can ask for him specifically and just ask that a proper report be taken, or clarify what the report said, or, kind of do your own little investigation, I guess, into it. Take control of it, because ultimately, the prosecutor only has what he has, and that's what the police provided us. And until we get more, like he said, there's no more we can do, just because the police are responsible for collecting evidence and statements and all of those things. We can't do that because we're part of the prosecution. So, one of the things I would encourage you to do is, when you hang up here with us today, is maybe contact JPD and just say, I want to know, is it JPD, right, I believe?
Yes.
Yeah, JPD, and just say, I was a victim of this incident. I spoke with the DA's office, and I'm just checking into the reporting of this because I feel that my statement was not documented properly or at all. And hopefully they can then follow up with you, and you have that right as a victim. So they will give you some guidance in what they're going to do.
Right. I just assumed that the things I said, because I said it like 4 or 5 times, I think they were out there for about a half hour easily. I think there's about...
We would assume they wrote that down, too.
Yeah, they would write down what I said.
Right.
So, exactly.
I guess they picked and chose what they wanted to add to the police report to give it to you exactly the way it was, so that you would make the decision you made. To give it to you exactly the way it was, so that you would make the decision you made. Based on... I
hope that's not the case, because they shouldn't be picking and choosing stuff. And ultimately, you can tell them, or if you're not getting satisfied with the answer you're getting from that person, talk to the supervisor and say, you need to look at this body camera footage, because you can clearly see my statement there. It should exist.
Right.
So they have body cams that are active at all times. I know that. So I would really follow up with them, because it sounds like they might have dropped some things here.
And just to let you know, they made an arrest, so they don't want to damage their own arrests by any stretch of the imagination. If they've made an arrest and referred it to the district attorney's office, they believe charges are there. Now, the district attorney's office, because we have a higher burden, they have probable cause. We have beyond a reasonable doubt. We have to review it based on the burden we have. And so there are times, for sure, where we have to indicate that maybe we think that a crime was committed, but we can't prove it. And that's what I was telling you earlier. If there's more reports that we should have had, or something happened and the computers didn't work and it didn't print it out, I'll certainly review whatever they send over to me and revisit this decision.
Okay. I'm sorry about that.
Mr. Lattimore, just remember, I don't like to get people's hopes up, and I like to be honest. Just because we get more information does not mean it's going to change the charging decision. But we will let you know either way, honestly. And if there's still an issue, whether that be because of conflicting statements, and we believe this happened to you. I think this did happen. A lot of times with the criminal justice system, though, we have that burden there beyond a reasonable doubt that we just can't meet, even even if we know something happened. Do you know what I mean? Even if I know it, if we know it and we believe what you're telling us, and I do, sometimes we still don't have that burden met. But I just don't want you to get your hopes up either, but I do think you should follow up for your own peace of mind with the police department, get why they didn't document things fully, and maybe get them documented from there, you know?
You're right. I agree. I don't, honestly, to be honest, I don't feel how well that's going to turn out. You know what I mean? Even if I go there and make that conversation, have that conversation with them, and however hard it may be, if it would be worth it. I just want it on your end to, I guess I see now how simple, easy it is for you to make that decision because of the police report. It makes sense now. None of the things I said was a part of the police report. So I get it, and I understand now that how things are. Well, I don't know how unvaluable it may be to actually make the effort to ask for a new or to make another statement. So.
I'm sorry this happened to you. That sucks.
It was as bizarre and random as you can imagine, probably. And it was a moment that it was hard to make a decision on what to do, personally for me.
Sure.
You survived. That's great.
Right.
You should be commended for that, and you should know that you survived something. It sounds like it was very traumatic for you, and I would be traumatized as well. Believe me. Sorry that happened to you.
Yep. And I appreciate you actually taking your time, because that means both of you. I honestly I value that you took your time to talk to me in regards to this, because I think it's well, to get somebody's opinion. It's really important to me. You didn't have to have the meeting. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. You didn't have to have the meeting, so I appreciate your time, and you're letting me know why you made the decision you made.
I appreciate you talking to us. That was that's a hard thing to do. Very brave of you just to come forward and speak for yourself. That takes a lot of will.
Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Have a great weekend.
Yep, you too.
Okay, it's nice meeting you, Mr. Lattimore. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Bye-bye now.
Bye. Live.